guys, it's Simmy, and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited, as we are here on the 20th of January 2021 to talk about everything that went down tonight on both AEW Dynamite and NXT on the USA Network. Now, sorry for being a little late. We had a late start to eating dinner, me and the kids, that is. They had extra schoolwork than normal, so we got, like I said, a late start on that. Also, I need to fix the info here on Twitch. AEW Dynamite, WWE NXT reviews. All right, we're good there. But with that, guys, again, sorry that we're a little later than normal getting this going, but they're situated. I'm situated. You guys are now situated here because you are watching on either twitch.tv/PW Unlimited or youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited. And we're going to talk about AEW Dynamite and NXT. But first, I got to let you guys know the rigmarole. If you're watching on Twitch, you can help us out here. Help the channel grow a couple of different ways. You can help us either with a donation by hitting that button down below or with some Twitch bits. You can also help us out by subscribing to the channel, either with a tiered subscription or with Amazon Prime, because if you have Amazon Prime, not only can you watch that new Borat movie that I've now watched 3 times for some reason because different friends want to keep watching it, you can watch that movie, but you can also subscribe to us right here at PW Unlimited on Twitch because you get a free subscription to any one Twitch channel you want to subscribe to here on Twitch. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, you can help us out by either donating a super sticker or super chat in the live chat. All super chat donations do get read on the air, or by becoming a member by hitting that join button down below. That join button is right next to where it says subscribe. You can't miss it. I believe it's in blue. But with that, guys, we're here to talk about AEW Dynamite, and we're here to talk about NXT, and I want to hear what you thought about both shows. Let me know in the text message bin. If you want to, you can text into 510-906-1341. Again, that number is 510-906-1341 to let us know what you thought of tonight's AEW Dynamite, NXT, or both. I mean, you could text us about either. But we're going to kick it off by talking about AEW Dynamite right as I get the poll going. What did you think of tonight's Dynamite? What did you think of tonight's Dynamite? Liked it. Also, can we do polls on Twitter or YouTube as well? I believe possible. I'm going to look into that. I liked it. Right. That way you guys on YouTube can also, I guess you can say, chime in and let me know what you thought of the shows as well. You know what? We're going to look really quick right now. We're going to start that poll on Twitch. I'm going to go over here on YouTube. And let's see. Create a poll. All right. I'm going to ask you guys on YouTube the exact same question. It was right. Also, awesome. This is awesome, as I didn't realize I could do polls on Twitter or on YouTube. So now the Twitch chat and the YouTube chat can participate. Awesome. So that is up there. Should be at the top of the chat where you guys can vote on what you thought of tonight's AEW Dynamite. And then we'll throw it in later for NXT as well. But let's get going. So the show kicks off with a Dark Order coming out. And they come out with -1 Brody Lee Jr., Brody Gorilla. He's on the shoulders of Preston Vance. And they got a table set up right at the top of the ramp, or whatever you want to call it, on the top of the stage with a cake. And they say, tonight, we're not only having a match, we're celebrating the birthday of -1 Brody Lee Jr. John Silver then took the mic. And, well, actually, John Silver's the one that said all of that, actually. And then he said, join me in singing happy birthday to -1 to Brody. A 1, a 2, a skiddly diddly do, and everybody in attendance saying happy birthday. And so afterwards, John Silver looked at the cake and said, Johnny Hungy. Chaos Project would interrupt, though. That's Luther and Serpentico. Luther said they didn't care about this party and that AEW had become nothing more than a daycare center. That he couldn't believe that Negative One could say what he said to him. I guess there was something that was said on, I guess Negative One called Luther ugly on Dark, I guess is what it was. He called him ugly and a doofus or something. And they said that they don't like kids and they're here to ruin the party. Negative One said something else. I didn't really write it down before hitting Serpentico. I think it was Serpentico with a kendo stick. Brawl broke out. TH2 would come out. They're all brawling. Got TH2, Chaos Theory, Reynolds, Silver, and Colt Cabana all brawling before the music of Hangman would hit. Hangman's music would hit. He would come out as the big savior. Hit a big old, I want to say, moonsault from the stage to the floor below. The match got going. I thought this was a fun 8-man tag. Match again with the heels beating down Silver. Luther displayed some signature offense using his teammate as a weapon. I guess that's what they do on Dark. I don't see much AEW Dark, if any at all, really. So I don't know the whole rigmarole with Luther and Serpentico. A flapjack allowed Silver, though, to get a little bit of not really an advantage, but a little bit of a separation from the heels and tagging Hangman Page. Page would run wild on all of his opponents, catching a dive from Serpentico and nailing a suplex. The match broke down, and Cabana landed a flying apple on Serpentico. Page missed a dive on the outside, but Silver made up for it with a cannonball senton before Reynolds hit a flip dive of his own. Page concluded the sequence with an Orihara moonsault onto everybody. I think he even hit Reynolds on the downfall of it. Going forward, at one point, Luther set up for a powerbomb on Cabana, right on the birthday cake. And hold on, I think I skipped the sentence here. Oh, here we go. So Luther set up for a powerbomb on Cabana on the birthday cake, but Negative One hit Luther with a kendo stick. Cabana then used his power to get out of it, and Luther went face first into the cake. Then in the ring, we saw a hell of a sequence. So John Silver has got his arms wrapped around Serpentico, like he's going to German suplex him. Hangman then jumps in and hits the buckshot lariat right into the German suplex. As he hits the German suplex, Silver bridges for a second, just long enough for Alex Reynolds to jump over Silver with a jackknife pin and pick up the victory. Hell of a trios finish. I say give these fuckers the trios title. But I don't think it's going to happen. So afterwards, they do another little thing with Serpentico and Negative One, and he goes, also, you idiots, my birthday was 3 days ago. When they were talking about you're not going to ruin Negative One's birthday, and he was like, you idiots, my birthday was 3 days ago. Kid's not bad reciting these lines, and according to Tony Khan, he's coming up with his own lines. Like, they're not scripting him, which is like, holy crap. So afterwards, Silver proceeded to say, well, Page, think about it. What's your answer? Are you joining the Dark Order? And they did it like a big old like baseball game proposal thing where it was like 1, 2, 3. And as he was saying no on the screen, it said, he said yes. Kind of like when you would go to a baseball game and you have it set up on the big screen when you proposed to your girlfriend. She said yes. Well, they were wrong. Hangman said, this is fun, but I can't. I think they had dancers and everything out there ready to go. And Hangman was just like, I'm sorry. I've already done the team thing, and it didn't work out for me. You saw what happened. Everyone knows what happened when I was in that other team. So, no. He grabs the bottle of alcohol and walks off. Next up, Chris Jericho and MJF were interviewed by Alex Marvez. He asked for their thoughts on the Inner Circle Tag Team Challenge. MJF insulted him and asked if Jericho was worried about dissension within the group. Jericho said that no matter what happens, the Inner Circle will move on as a unit. He predicted that he and MJF would pick up the victory. MJF said that they would be the next AEW Tag Team Champions. Well, as we learned, to be the next AEW Tag Team Champions, you're going to have to win a Battle Royal in a couple of weeks. Also, thank you to Jack Dawson in the YouTube chat for the super sticker donation. Really do appreciate that. Next up, we had Sting and Darby Allin. Tony Schiavone introduces Sting. Alexa, stop. Anyway, sorry about that. So, Tony Schiavone introduces Sting, who came out wearing the Brody Lee Tribute T-shirt before bringing out the TNT champion, Darby Allin. Sting said that there's something about Allin that reminds him, of himself. He also said that he wanted to be the first person to publicly congratulate Darby on, he didn't say retaining, which was weird. He said on being our TNT champion. He wanted to say that. He said he didn't want to get involved in last week's match, but he felt like he had to, and Taz would interrupt on the video board. And Taz actually spoke the freaking truth here as the heel. Taz pointed out that Sting's attack on Ricky Starks and Allin using a belt on Cage in that match last week was actually not legal. Because if you remember, Darby Allin tied up the legs and feet of Cage in that damn title match last week. It wasn't no DQ. I get it. He didn't use it as a quote unquote weapon, but I would have DQ'd him for that. Allin and Sting, or Taz says, looks like you guys want to be street fighters. You don't know the first thing about the streets. I grew up on the streets. Starks suggested that they take it to the streets, and Taz said that the ball is in their court. Allin would then tell Team Taz, be careful what you wish for, because it might just happen. So I don't know what's going on here, but it almost looks like we're going to get a match with Taz and Sting in the streets. I think what they should do, because Taz can't really wrestle, Sting's not supposed to be wrestling, I say we get a cool Sting versus Taz cinematic match. So here's a couple of things with this. They can both actually do it, and it could look good, but you don't have to have Sting coming in beating some younger star that should be getting established instead of beat by a legend or a veteran or an old-timer. You can have Sting come in and beat none other than Taz. So I think that would be a cool idea. A cinematic match between Taz and Sting. You can have Team Taz somehow get involved a little, Darby get involved a little, but with it being cinematic, neither guy has to take the rigors and bumps of an actual match. So going forward, we learned that there's supposed to be some sort of a meeting with the Elite at Kenny Omega's house. Kenny got a nice little house out there in Jacksonville. Alex Marvez was there already with cameras before the Young Bucks would show up. They walk up and they're like, Kenny, where you at? And like, that's not Kenny. Nakazawa. Where's Kenny? And Nakazawa was like pretending to be like, I guess they say the secretary. And he's like, oh, this way. And they're like, kitchen? Kenny's not in the kitchen. I don't see him. Like, no, over this way. They're like, they walk in like a dining room area. They're like, Kenny's not here. He's like, oh, he'll meet you over here. And they're in like a little family room. And they see this picture on the wall. And it's a oil painting of Kenny Omega and Don Callis, but both not on their own bodies, on these jacked out male stripper-like bodies. And all of a sudden, we hear Don Callis. Don's like, oh, you like the present I got for the champ for his birthday? And they were like, Kenny's birthday was back in October. He's like, hey, it never hurts to get the champ a present, even if it's a little late. We've been busy and you know that. Where's your birthday presents? They then said, hey, well, where's Kenny? He's like, oh, sorry, Kenny can't make it here today. They're like, so what is this all for? Like, we need to just call him? And like, oh, you can't call him. They're like, well, yeah, we tried calling him and he didn't answer his phone. He's like, yeah, we changed his number. You know, fans and media and people keep getting Kenny's number and we can't have that happening. So we changed his phone number. And he was like, well, first off, we can't talk with Marvez here. Marvez, go. And he's like, Nakazawa, escort him to the dungeon. They're like, the dungeon? He's like, yeah, it's our wrestling room. It's fine. Cameraman, you go too. We don't need this to be filmed. So the cameraman puts down the camera, and he and I guess Marvez leave with Nakazawa, but we hear everything that's said. And basically, Don Callis says that the Young Bucks have been holding Kenny Omega back. He said, you know, there's a check here. All you guys got to do is let the champ be. Just let Kenny be. I know you guys have been friends for like 12 years, but me and him, we're family, and I know what's best for him. So he hands him the check, and they go, whoa, We made this much just last week. And he goes, oh, that's right. You got merch that sells. You got big merch. All right, hold on. How about this? And he like writes a new number on the thing or whatever. And they're like, done. You want to talk to Kenny. What's going on with Kenny? Where's Kenny? What's all this about? And all of a sudden the lights go out and you hear Don Callis go, oh no, ow, stop, And you're supposed to think that the Bucks beat up Don Callis. So next up we have just hot garbage. Cody Rhodes versus Peter Avalon. And this match was bad with just the worst finish. So Cody said on Twitter, I'm going to win this match in under a minute. And so as soon as the match starts, Peter Avalon runs at Cody. Cody grabs him and is about to go for, I think he even hits the crossroads. But as he hits it, music plays. And we're like, whose music is this? And out would come Jade Cargill. Jade would walk out. And Cody would be distracted by it. As Cody is distracted looking at Jade, he gets low blowed by Peter Avalon. Avalon then targets Cody's knee and goes after him. Cody fights back a little bit as we go to commercial. When they come back, Avalon tried to pin Cody, but it didn't work. To no avail. Cody then landed the crossroads again. They fought up top on the top rope, leading to Avalon hitting a superplex. Look, this match went way too long, I'm going to say it right now. And Peter Avalon did not need to get this much action and offense on Cody. Cody rolled to the outside, and they fought on the floor for a bit. Back in the ring, a vertical suplex got Avalon a 1 count, leading to a commercial break. After that commercial break, Avalon attempted a moonsault, but Cody rolled away. Cody went for a leapfrog, but Avalon didn't get through in time. It looked like it was kind of a botch, but Cody did a great job quickly recovering, selling his knee. Avalon then sent Cody to the outside and landed a tope. He tried to follow it up back in the ring, but Cody countered with a cutter and a power slam. Cody then locked on a figure 4, and it looked like, I guess, Peter Avalon was going to reverse it, but then Cody went to slap Peter Avalon. Peter Avalon covers his face and taps out. It's like, I don't want to be slapped. And just taps. A bad match with just the worst finish ever. What kind of fucking... I'm not even going to say what kind of damn heel. What kind of damn man? You're supposed to be a professional wrestler and you're afraid to get slapped? Oh, you're pretty, so you don't want your face to get all dismembered. Fuck that. Yeah, I get it. It's his gimmick. He doesn't like it to get hit in the face. But you sacrifice the match for that? A match that already wasn't that good with just the dirt worst finish? I'm going to tap out because I don't want him to slap me. But then they can say, oh, he tapped to the figure 4. No, he fucking didn't. He tapped to not getting slapped. This was hot garbage. This was dog shit. I'm going to say it right freaking now. This was bad. The video played where FTR and Tully Blanchard were talking about ratings and whatnot, I guess. Say that they should be the champions when Jurassic Express would interrupt. Jungle Boy said that FTR may be the best tag team in the world, but he knows, and he learned last week, that he could beat either one of them in a singles match. Harwood would step and go, I got this. He's like, is this what you want? And he's like, all right, next week, you versus me. They shake hands, and he goes, I don't even need any, and Luchasaurus interrupts and goes, oh, what are you going to say? You don't need their help? Okay, well, we'll be at ringside too next week, and I'll make sure personally nobody gets involved in this match. So next week we will see Jungle Boy versus Dax Harwood. And I want to say it was Excalibur later in the show called him Axe Dax. What do you call him? Dash the Axe Harwood, I think is what he's like. He's like, Jungle Boy will be taking on Dax the Ash. No, let me rephrase. He said, Jungle Boy will be taking on Dax the Axe Harwood. I was like, okay. This guy better be doing some axe smashes. Next up, we got Nick Comorado against John Moxley. They stated that Nick Comorado was a tough son of a gun because he was the only one that was actually the only one out of everybody backstage that had the guts to agree to a match with Moxley. They literally said that Nick Comorado was the only guy that would actually sign the contract to fight John Moxley this week. Out of everybody they asked, out of everybody backstage, Nobody had the balls, I guess you could say, to wrestle Moxley. And they're like, huh? Okay, then. So, I think Moxley faced Comorado before, but I can't 100% remember. But Comorado looks like a fucking caveman and should be in Jurassic Express. I'm going to say it right now. Him and Luchasaurus, like him and Luchasaurus could be a team. Jungle Boy and Marco can be a team. There you go. Bada bing, bada boom. 4-man unit that can sometimes split off into twos. So early on, Moxley headbutted Comorado and attacked with a long series of strikes. He went for a running crossbody, but Comorado caught Moxley and downed him with a slam. After a beatdown, Moxley tried to make his comeback by biting at Comorado's face and followed it up with some forearms. Comorado caught him yet again with a Ushigoroshi. They also talked how Comorado may look like a caveman, but he's actually very smart with a college degree. So Comorado went for a spear, but Moxley moved out of the way and laid in a knee. No, a kick, the midsection. He then rebounded, and Comorado came off the ropes and hit a German suplex. Comorado shrugged off of a lariat, but Moxley transitioned into a rear naked choke, forcing referee stoppage because Comorado wouldn't tap out. So after the match, Moxley soaked it up the applause from the crowd. Got the mic and said that anything can happen on AEW Dynamite. Things are getting crazy, and he can't keep track of all of it. Who's the Elite? Who's the Bullet Club? Who's actually here in AEW? Who's coming from Impact Wrestling? He said it's all getting so confusing. So he doesn't really care about it, though. Kenny Omega brought the Good Brothers to help him. But Moxley said that just makes it more fun and more violent. He said that the bigger the mountain to climb, the more satisfying it actually is. He said you can bring anybody from around the world. He doesn't care. But all roads in professional wrestling lead through Jon Moxley. It was a cool promo. It was good. Moxley's always good on the mic. His delivery is always spot on. So, yeah. Basically, he just said, Kenny, bring all your friends from wherever you want to bring them from. I'll still whip your ass. Buddy Kingston and his associates were interviewed backstage by Dasa, where it was announced that next week, Eddie Kingston will be going one-on-one with Lance Archer. Kingston was about to talk about Pac when Archer would come up and interrupt. Archer and Jake Roberts interrupted, and they started having like a shouting match, a little shouting battle here. I think Jake told Kingston to wrestle without his bitches, or I don't think he said bitch. He said something along those lines. He called him a weird name that pissed off the Butcher and the Blade. Now he had to hold back Blade. And he basically just told Eddie, come out by yourself. The segment ended with Roberts telling Kingston, bite me. In the back, Kenny Omega was being interviewed by Alex Marvez about the events that happened at his house earlier today, but Kenny actually didn't know what happened at his house. Omega then met Callis in a locker room where Callis had a bad bruise on his face, and he said it was from the Young Bucks. Kenny got pissed. Kenny tried to get to the bottom of it, and Callis said, Nick and Matt, in passing. He was like, wait, Nick and Matt did this to you? No, Nick and Matt did this to you? He's like, yeah, and it was all unprovoked, too. And then they told Marvez to leave. So I think now what we're actually going to get is that Kenny is brainwashed by Don Callis. That Kenny's not just doing all this because he wants to do it. It's that he's actually being brainwashed by Don Callis and doesn't fully comprehend what's going on. I think that's the road they may be going, and I could be wrong on that. But I'm just from tonight's thing where he was like, Kenny was like, what happened to you? What? Where did that come from and everything? And he's like, I'll be fine. And Matt and Nick, And he's like, wait, Matt and Nick? He's planting those seeds. Don Callis, that is. Next up, we had Matt Hardy and Private Party taking on the team of Matt Sydal and Top Flight. Remember, Private Party did compete last night on Impact Wrestling, which was actually filmed this past weekend. They're the number one contenders for the Impact Tag Team titles, the champions, the Good Brothers, who were on tonight's show. Oh, spoiler for a little bit later. Anyways, Mark Quinn and Dante opened up this match with a handshake and an athletic sequence. Dante got the upper hand, and his brother ran interference as Cassidy and Hardy tried to get involved. Sydal and Top Flight had a triple leapfrog spot that didn't really work until Sydal hit a corkscrew moonsault for a 2. Private Party showed more aggression than normal, like they showed last night on Dynamite. No, Impact. Seidel and Top Flight applied some wacky double Boston Crab on both members. Hardy then struck Seidel from behind the official's back. This allowed Private Party to take the advantage with a diving crossbody for a 2. Seidel at one point would then fire up some chops, but Hardy was able to reach Cassidy to stop the comeback. A double Hurricane Rana on Private Party allowed Seidel to reach Darius and get a hot tag. Darius ran wild on everybody, hitting a Spanish Fly on Cassidy and sending Hardy to the floor. Cassidy at one point, though, countered an attack and rolled into the tag for Hardy, who hit the side effect on both Top Flight. He then caught Seidel's dive. Caught Seidel's dive and hit a third side effect, but cover only got a 2. Quinn then tagged in and caught Seidel with a wacky spin kick. Seidel then hit a roundhouse kick of his own, allowing him to reach Dante for the tag. The finish of the match then saw Hardy send Dante to the floor with the distraction of the referee, while Cassidy hit Dante with a chair. So Hardy throws Darius out, ref gets distracted, Cassidy hits Dante with a chair, solidifies that they're turning heel. Shooting star press from Mark Quinn. Bing, bang, boom. Matt Hardy, Private Party, they pick up the victory. Sinclair Saturday says Matt Hardy has Private Party brainwashed. Yeah, basically. Maybe they think that if they do what Matt says, he'll take less of their money. MJF and Wardlow went into Chris Jericho's locker room where the rest of Inner Circle was. They were in there waiting for their main event match. MJF said that if he were the leader, this match would not be happening. But Jericho's their leader, and they do what he says. Sammy then get in MJF's face and said that if he was in charge, a lot of things would change. MJF calmed everybody down and asked everyone to just go out there, get this match out of the way, fist bump, and there we go. But Sammy didn't want a fist bump. Next up, Chuck Taylor, who they're now calling Charles Taylor because he's the butler of Miro, came out with Penelope Ford for her match, as well as Miro and Chris Sabian. Penelope Ford did take on Layla Hirsch. Layla Hirsch looked great in this match, and I go, all right, AEW don't got many great women, but Layla Hirsch, they call her legit Layla Hirsch, and she looked legit in the ring. And I'm like, all right, I like her. She could be something. And they fucking beat her. Like, not even just beat her. They did the freaking Ric Flair Lacey Evans fucking finish. So Hirsch tried to control the match early with her amazing amateur wrestling and background. Ford escaped with a kick to Hirsch's knee and a shoulder block, but Hirsch popped up and ran the ropes. Chuck Taylor tripped Hirsch at Sabian's request. Or is it Sabian or Sabin? Because the way it's spelled is Sabian, but I believe it's just Sabin. Kip Sabin. Anyways. Hirsch was still able to lock on an armbar, though. Sabin distracted Hirsch, and Ford blindsided her with the pump kick on the floor before sending her into the barricade. After a commercial break, Hirsch caught a kick and landed a running knee strike before flattening Ford with the German. She followed this up with a running knee for a 2. Hirsch went to the top, but Ford pulled her down where she avoided an axe kick. It looked like Hirsch would go for her springboard moonsault, but she audibled into diving onto Sabin and Taylor on the outside. A little weird, because there was a little bit of a hesitation there. It was like, what move am I supposed to do right now? Like, she thought she was supposed to do one thing, and then she did another thing instead. I don't know if something was called on the fly, or if she just got confused, but they're a little off here. Regardless, back in the ring, Ford caught Hirsch with the big boot. Sabin then held her leg down as Penelope went for the pin and got the pin 1, 2, 3. So after the match, Miro grabbed a microphone and said, everyone needs an update. Charles, get in the ring. And also, you got to remember, Orange Cassidy was sitting in the crowd watching this the whole time. He said he wants to take Taylor's place. He wants to take Taylor places he's never gone before. But to do that, he needs Taylor to tell Orange Cassidy that Miro is actually his best friend now. Taylor thought about it for a long time, and with a solemn look in his eyes, said that Miro is his best friend. Cassidy put his sunglasses back on and made his way back up the steps. I don't know where this is going, honestly. If it doesn't lead to Kip Sabian ruining the wedding, Chuck Chuck Taylor ruining Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford's wedding. That's all for fucking nothing. The show cut backstage where all of a sudden out of nowhere, the Good Brothers beating up the Lucha Bros. Kenny Omega shows up. Kenny gets involved and helps. Don's out there yelling at everybody, telling him what to do. Carl Anderson choked Pentagon with some sort of a cable, and Omega attacked him with his boot. They really played up these Argyle boots. Were badass bitchin' boots that can really hurt you, I guess you could say. We got some updates for next week's show. Lance Archer will take on Eddie Kingston. Dax the Axe Harwood will take on Jungle Boy. And the Young Bucks will be teaming with the Good Brothers. This is an interesting one. To take on the Dark Order's Stu Grayson, Evil Uno, John Silver, and Alex Reynolds. That's an interesting one, that the Bucks are teaming with the Good Brothers. Also, Cody will respond to something that Shaq said weeks ago. They're like, Cody will finally respond to Shaq's comments from weeks ago or a couple of weeks ago. I don't know what fucking comment Shaq made. Is this when Brandy threw the drink on him? Because that's so fucking long ago. Like, this Cody stuff has just been dog shit recently. The waiting room segment last week, the match tonight, all this shit with Jade Cargill still wanting an opponent, even though Brand's pregnant. Like, what the fuck? Also, we learned that at Beach Break in a couple of weeks, Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers will take on Jon Moxley, Pac, and Phoenix. We'll get the wedding of Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford. Miro will be there as the best man. Britt Baker will be taking on Thunder Rosa. And there will also be a battle royal a tag team battle royal where the winners earn a tag team title shot against the Young Bucks at Revolution. Also, I need to look something up really quick. Give me 2 seconds, guys. Okay, never mind. I thought I had something wrong here. Also, as far as your poll goes on Twitch, 60% of you said that you liked AEW Dynamite tonight. 30% thought it was all right. And 10% said, well, I didn't like it. As far as the YouTube poll does go, in the poll, see the results. Oh, there we go. The results are 59% said that you liked it. 32% said that Dynamite was all right, and 8% of you did not like Dynamite. As we move on here, we learned that also coming soon, didn't state when, AEW will be holding an AEW Women's Championship Eliminator Tournament. Participants to be determined, but the interesting thing here is one side of the brackets had an American flag, and the other side of the brackets actually had the Japanese flag. So I guess we're going to get some sort of a international tournament here. I don't know exactly how this is going to work because they really didn't say much. So as we go into our main event, it's Jericho and MJF against Sammy and Jake Hager and Santana and Ortiz. And as this is great. Jericho probably got this set up. So they go, Sammy Guevara and Jake Hager are coming out, but we got a message from, I guess, their biggest fan. And it was none other than Sammy Hagar, who said his new favorite tag team in wrestling, is Sammy Hagar. Oh, that was a cool little thing that they threw on there. I bet you Jericho probably got that set up. So I thought this match was great, actually, with some exciting multi-man wrestling. Sammy Guevara 100% was the standout here. Can't take anything away from that. They state that the winners of this match will be designated as the Inner Circle's actual tag team. Jericho and Sammy would start the match off, and Guevara easily got the upper hand with some strikes. It looked like he would dive on Jericho, but instead he posed in the ring as Jericho regrouped. Hager and Santana would tag in, and Santana and Ortiz took control, but Jericho made a blind tag on Hager. Santana hit a springboard crossbody, followed by a senton moonsault combination for a 2. During the break, because we had picture-in-picture here, Santana and Ortiz kept up their advantage on Sammy, or after Sammy tagged in, before Jericho blind tagged himself in. Guevara fired up on Jericho at one point as the announcers pointed out that MJF hasn't even entered this match yet. Hager and MJF then tagged in. Hager ran wild on everybody, flattening MJF with a spine buster. Guevara hit a springboard cutter before super kicking Jericho on the floor. At one point, MJF distracted the referee as Jericho called for Floyd the Bat, but Hager just booted him down. MJF then tried to use the Dynamite Diamond Ring, but Hager downed him as well with a right hand. A running shooting star press from Guevara got a 2. MJF cut him off and allowed Jericho to tag in. Powerbomb from MJF and a lion salt from Jericho on Guevara got a 2. Ortiz got another hot tag, and he and Santana flattened Jericho with an inside-out suplex, but Jericho kicked out at 2 and then hit a code breaker for a great close near fall. Ortiz then hit a double DDT on MJF and Jericho. Hager would tag in and hit the Hager bomb on MJF, and Guevara landed a senton atomico, but Ortiz broke up the pin. The finish of the match came down to where Guevara blasted Jericho with a GTH. He fought off everybody else, but then Wardlow distracted him, and MJF rolled them up with a handful of tights to pick up the victory. And they stated this during the entrances. You know, all these teams are coming out here, but Jericho and MJF, you've got to remember, they got Wardlow in their corner. So Wardlow did come into play, did distract Sammy Guevara just long enough for MJF to get them tights and pick up the victory. So with that, guys, that was AEW Dynamite tonight. A rather good show. On paper, to me, it didn't look like it was going to be all that great. I thought this was going to be an average show, to be honest, but it was better than I expected. A lot better than I expected, actually. But with that, let's throw up the next poll. New poll, NXT. What do you think of tonight's NXT? Liked it. It was all right. I didn't. Throw that poll up on Twitch. We'll also throw one up on Twitter. Whoops. I don't know what I just did, but I messed something up here. Let's do this again. I liked it. It was all right. Third option. I didn't like it. All right. We got it on Twitch. We got it on Twitter. Go vote for what you thought of tonight's AEW Dynamite. Did you love it, like it? Did you think it was just all right? Or did you not care for NXT tonight? So, interesting. Beth Phoenix, live in the CWC. She was actually there in frickin' person. First time since, like, the pandemic hit. A year ago, almost. Show kicks off with the first round match in the men's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. We had Leon Ruff Kushida taking on the Way's Johnny Gargano, the North American Champion, and Austin Theory. After the bout got going, the Way began to work over Kushida for a while. He got the heat on him until he fell backwards into the corner, allowing Ruff to make the tag and get an actual hot tag. Ruff ran into the ring with a springboard missile dropkick and a Tito Santana flying forearm. Ruff was cleaning house. So here's the thing. I'm going to go off on a little thing real fast. This should only be about 30 seconds. When you look at Leon Ruff, he looks like, and I don't want to say it, but like a James Ellsworth type, where he may be able to hold his own, but he's more of a comedy guy because he's super skinny and whatnot, and he's got that look like, oh, they're going to use him for the comedy stuff. But when they let Leon Ruff go, bro can go. Dude can go. Leon Ruff is way better than he looks like he would be. Like, don't judge a book by the cover when it comes to Leon Ruff. He's actually really, really good in the ring and holds his own with guys like Johnny Gargano. So Ruff was cleaning house, but the Way caught him and Theory put him in a torture rack. He spun Ruff around and dropped him into a sit-out powerbomb. Ruff kicked out of a near fall as the show went to a picture-picture break. After the break, the Way used some nifty double team moves on Ruff. He still was able to fake out Theory, and Ruff dropped him with a springboard cutter, which allowed him to get a tag. Much like Ruff earlier, Kushida, House of Fire, just came in. House of Fire. Theory tried to make a save to Gargano, but instead ate a springboard back elbow from Kushida. Gargano was knocked off the apron, and Kushida later caught him with a flying tornado DDT off the apron. Back in the ring, Kushida went for an armbar, and Gargano countered it. Kushida went for a counter of his own and was able to apply a cross-arm breaker. Theory was able to make the save here, breaking up the hold. At one point, Kushida, kind of towards the closing moments, dropped Gargano with a punch and then hooked him for a suplex. Kushida trapped his arm in a hammerlock position as he executed a snap suplex. Kushida then bridged him to pick up the victory. Yes, Kushida and Leon Ruff defeat Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory to advance to round 2 of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. But not only are Kushida and Ruff advancing, but Kushida pinned the current North American champion, basically earning himself a shot at that North American title. So they served 3 things here. They advanced a team in the tournament. They had a shocking win here because no one expected the Way to get beat, and possibly finally set up the title match. And I think Kushida's gotten like 3 victories now over Johnny. So next up, Pete Dunne cut a promo just saying, hey, he's coming after the NXT champion. He wants Finn. He said, Finn, you left. Basically referencing that Finn went to the main roster. He's like, but I was here. I solely made the NXT UK brand. I had that brand on my back, and I made it what it is. He said, now I'm going to take this brand and make it what it needs to be. Malcolm Bivens was backstage near the office of William Regal, and he was there to lobby for Tyler Rust. Mackenzie Mitchell was asking Bivens a question when Rust came out of Regal's office. Rust said that he got a match with Bronson Reed. Bivens was clearly upset by this, but he tried to say, hey, make the best of it. Next up, we had Karrion Kross taking on Ashanti, the Adonis. Kross won very quickly. Kross hit 2 Saito suplexes, smacked Adonis in the back of the neck, the forearm smash, and then put on his I guess you could say, choked him out. Kross then covered him to pick up the victory. Desmond Troy was in the ring checking on Adonis when Kross would put him in the straitjacket and choke him out as well. We then got a video hyping up MSK, formerly known as the Rascals, Nick Carter and Wes Cash. I think these guys are going to do well. I think these guys are going to do really well in NXT. Tony Storm and Mercedes Martinez cut a promo threatening Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter ahead of their match later on in the Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Speaking of the Dusty Classic, we had another Men's Dusty Classic match as Imperium took on a Lucha House Party. I thought this was a fun match. There was mat wrestling early on until the Luchadors went to the skies. Metalik did a swan dive off the shoulders of Dorado. Imperium fought back with some high-impact moves. This was all strength versus speed, and I loved it. Lucha House Party fired up again, and Dorado was caught on a dive, though. Where was I? Eichner then smashed him into the ring post, and Dorado took a scoop slam on the floor before a commercial break. After that break, Dorado created some separation with the Tornado DDT. Metalik would get a tag and soon cut off Imperium with a spike DDT. Dorado would jump in and make a save after Metalik got spiked himself. Lucha House Party with a combo. Hit a missile dropkick code red type deal for a near fall. Lucha House Party then dropped some stereo power moves. They're not all just speed. They could do some power things as well. Lucha House Party made a comeback here with more flying moves, power moves. These had all kinds of moves. This led to Metalik doing an acai moonsault off the top rope to the floor. Dorado was looking at the carnage on the floor when he was hit from behind by Marcel Barthel. Roll up for a 2 here, and Dorado answered right back with a super kick. He followed up with a shooting star press, and Dorado would cover Marcel Barthel to advance in the next round. And this, some said on Twitter, shocking. Imperium lost? What? But it makes sense because the team that they're now going to face, Legado del Fantasma. So, it does make sense. Lucha House Party advances. Now, in the next round, they go on to take on Legado del Fantasma, Joaquin Wilde, and Raul Mendoza. So, Imperium's trying to get their wits about themselves after taking this loss. They're getting ready to walk up the ramp, and all of a sudden, Alexander Wolf would appear. He was standing at attention, and all of a sudden, they noticed him and whoop, snapped to attention. I thought Walter was about to come out, the way they did that. The way they, snapped to attention, I thought I was going to be like, uh-oh, big dog, the chief, their leader, their tribal chief, Walter about to come out, but he didn't. And so the announcer's like, oh my God, that's Alexander Wolf. Last time we saw him, he was stuck in the UK. What is he doing here? We'll see. After the break, no follow-up. It was just like, that never happened. The announcers threw it to a weigh-in with Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher. They had a little pool apart there. Beth Phoenix and gave a speech about all the women that have come before the current roster in NXT, saying that you start in NXT, but you can do great things. All these women that I mentioned, Sasha Banks, Alexa Bliss, Carmella, Bayley, Charlotte Flair, they've all gone on to Raw, SmackDown, main eventing pay-per-views, main eventing WrestleMania. And now maybe the winners of the first ever Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic can follow in their footsteps. Wigglein said, let the Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic commence with our first round match. And it was Caden Carter and Casey Catanzaro against Toni Storm and Mercedes Martinez. The match itself was really good. Casey Catanzaro, holy fuck. You thought Ricochet's 630 was good. She's got like a inverted 630 plus 2070 flip Rana, whatever you want to call it. Like, holy crap. That freaking move from Casey Catanzaro to win this match. Catanzaro fought from underneath. It was basically the smaller women against the more powerful Storm and Martinez. Baby faces kept trying to make a comeback, but it was to no avail. There's heat on Catanzaro before a commercial break. Caden Carter, after the break, got the hot tag, and everybody jumped in on the fray. Smoke cleared, and Storm pulled Carter into a half crab. Io Shirai, though, would run in and threw Martinez over the announce table. Storm was distracted here, and she was outnumbered, with Martinez basically out of the match. Catanzaro and Carter would then knock down Storm long enough for freaking Casey Catanzaro to hit probably one of the most incredible looking flip dive off top rope I've ever seen. Like, I can't even do this justice. Hold on. I gotta just pull this up. I want to see it again myself. Hold on. NXT. Where's this at? I just want to see it again myself. Is this it? No. Come on. Where is it? Is that it? Nope. Wrong match. Now I can't seem to find it. I know there's the clip of it because I saw everybody retweeting it. Here it is. It was a GIF, but let's zoom in on this. All right, right here. Look at this move. Look at this. Just, I don't even know what to call it. Like, holy crap. Like, what is this? Is it a 630 twisting inverted whatever? Like a inverted twist corkscrew 630 senton. It's like if Ricochet and Matt Riddle combined their moves with an extra rotation. Because, Riddle got the floating bro. She comes down like the floating bro. Also, her freaking head smacked on the damn mat. Like, she came down hard. They picked up that victory. They picked up that damn victory with a very impressive move. Hopefully, we get more from Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter, because they've missed out on Casey Catanzaro. she could have been a big star, especially playing up the Ninja Warrior stuff, because when she first came in, Ninja Warrior was still a big deal. Not as much of a big deal anymore, but they could have really played it up because they're on USA. Ninja Warrior is a NBC Universal property, which is technically USA and all. Anyways. Vegeta Lover says it should end with a leg drop. Bro, for her to even land it the way she did is impressive enough. Fuck trying to land it with a leg drop as well. That's just adding too much, and you're not going to probably be able to get it every time. Oh, yeah, Ricochet been training her for sure. Unfortunately, they've been training at that Vision Dojo or whatever it's called that got a lot of controversy in Florida. Anyways, where was I? Keith Catanzaro and Caden Carter cut a promo after the match. They were being interviewed, and they just said how pumped they were to be moving on to the next round. William Regal and Finn Balor had a meeting that seemed straight out of The Sopranos. Balor says he needs a partner. Regal said, well, you do keep your enemies close. Find a partner, you can have a match against the tag champs, non-title. Next up, we have Bronson Reed against Tyler Rust. Reed basically just pinned him pretty quickly with a tsunami. Rust did get some offense in, but not much. So in the back, Balor would go the Undisputed Era. He would ask for help from his enemies. After the commercial, Balor was seen going into their locker room. He confronted Kyle O'Reilly and asked him, are you in? O'Reilly said, yeah, I'm in. It's a deal. Balor and O'Reilly will team next week to take on the team of Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan. Remember, Danny Burch, Oney Lorcan, Pete Dunne, they all attacked Kyle O'Reilly last week, so Kyle does have a reason why he would want to be in this match. So next up, the NXT Cruiserweight Champion Santos Escobar would make his way down to the ring. Cutting a promo. His English is getting really good. Cutting a promo about being the champ, and then he began to explain what a true champion really is. He put himself over all the other champions in NXT. Escobar kept putting himself over and over again until changing the subject to Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza. They brought out Lucha House Party for a Gordon Soley Pier Sixer. They all started brawling when Kurt Stallion was making his way down to the ring as well to help out Lucha House Party. This might have something to do with what they've been doing on 205 Live, I think, but I don't watch 205 Live. They kind of referenced it, but they didn't. So they're all brawling and everything, and afterwards, they're interviewing Kurt Stallion backstage with the Lucha House Party when Escobar would approach and go, oh, you want to mess up my thing? You want to come after me? How about you and me fight next week? I'll even put this title on the line. So Kurt Stallion getting an NXT Cruiserweight Championship match next week on the show. Also announced for next week's show, more Dusty Classic matches. We've got Grizzled Young Veterans versus Ruff and Kushida in a second-round match. Also in a second-round match, MSK will be taking on Drake Maverick and Killian Dane. They also announced that Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly will be teaming up to take on Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan, and no mention of a women's Dusty Classic match, unfortunately. Next up, we had the fight pit between Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa. Well, the match started with both of them up top on the platform. This was basically a scaffold match for the first few minutes of the match. They both dropped down into the pit during a picture-in-picture, which is kind of unfortunate because that's something you would want to see on the full screen. Like, hey, when they're going to come off of the top, they didn't crash off the top or anything like we saw Riddle and Thatcher do last time, but it was just like, when they come off the top, you kind of want to see that, not just come back and go, why are they in the ring now? So they took turns working each other's shoulders over. Ciampa whipped Thatcher into the side of the cage at one point, and Thatcher answered back with a suplex. He went back to the targeting the arm, and he snapped Ciampa's fingers. Ciampa fought back, but Thatcher applied a rear naked choke. Thatcher with a low blow, remember, no disqualification, broke the hold. The referee was down on all fours as Ciampa dragged Thatcher over him for a draping DDT. Not really sure why the ref was knocked down on all fours, to be honest. I didn't catch that. The trade strikes here in the closing minutes of the match. Champa rammed Thatcher's head into a cage, and then Thatcher executed the fairy tale ending. No, Champa rammed Thatcher's head into the cage, and Champa hit the fairy tale ending. Where was I? Champa then applied a sleeper hold, but Thatcher countered, ramming Champa's leg into the cage. So they're fighting in the corner, and Thatcher grabs Champa and puts him up on the top turnbuckle. The ropes weren't there, so he put him on top of the turnbuckle basically, and had his one leg tied up in the cage, and then he did like a stretch muffler to the other leg and the knee of Champa, the surgically repaired knee, where Champa ultimately had to tap out. Now here's the thing: I don't have insight on this or anything, but just think about this. When's the last time we saw the Fight Pit? Who was in that match? Timothy Thatcher and Matt Riddle. What happened in that match? Thatcher beat Riddle. Riddle, done in NXT, moved on to the main roster. Everyone expected Riddle to win. Well, tonight, everybody expected Champa to win. And what happened? Champa lost to Timothy Thatcher in the Fight Pit. So, would this be Ciampa's last match in NXT? Is something going down where Ciampa's done in NXT, so they needed to get him out? We'll have to wait and see, but interesting enough that they did this the way they did this. Because they've done the whole cage match as your final match thing before. I mean, they did it with Eric Young and Ty Dillinger. But with that, let's check the polls on Twitch. 50% of you liked NXT. 33% did not like NXT. 50% liked NXT. 33% thought it was all right. 17% didn't like it. Let's end our poll here on YouTube. See what you guys thought. And 72% of you liked NXT. 18% thought it was all right. And 9% of you did not like it. With that, now, I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what you guys thought of tonight's AEW Dynamite and NXT. Remember, if you want to be part of the show, you can do so by texting in to 510-906-1341. Again, that number is 510-906-1341. Let these load in. Got a couple of text messages here. This person says, no offense to Seidel and Hardy, but the match would have been better if it was just Top Flight versus Private Party. I mean, maybe, but Person also says, do you think that finish is leading to Sammy Guevara versus MJF or Revolution? Very good chance. And this person says, Sting does not have interest me in AEW. Yeah, me either. Person says AEW had been beating out Monday Night Raw and NXT. No, not really, not Monday. I mean, Raw this week, I have to write it down right here, did 1.8 million viewers and did a 0.60 in the rating. AEW don't do that. Person says, when do you think they're going to use Braun Strowman a little more? I don't know. Maybe he'll show back up at the Rumble. Person says, watching AEW Dynamite and NXT, took a peek watching Celebrate America on platforms on TV. Okay, I don't even know what this is all about. Person says, you don't think it'll lead to Chucky turning heel? You mean Chuck Taylor? Because no, I don't. If you're talking about Chuck Taylor being the butler for Miro, I don't think he's turning heel off that. I think he's going to screw up the wedding. Versus says, this is random, but do you think Ricochet... No, do you think... Why did I read that as Ricochet? Do you think Robert Stone will ever wrestle and for titles, or do you just think he'll be a manager? Manager. Finally, this person says, even though Karrion Kross is probably going to be undefeated for a while in NXT, who do you think should beat him, whether he has the title or not? Can't really say, because really he's only been doing squash match stuff other than the Damian Priest match. So I don't know what route they're going with him. It depends on if he gets the title, and then that's a whole other can of worms. You go, well, who's going to take the title off of him? You could say someone like a Damian Priest maybe beats him, but does Damian Priest beat him if he's the champion? No. It says, whoever wins the Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Tournament will possibly earn a Women's Tag Team title shot in the future. Yeah, of course. That's the way it looks. And this last one says, how long do you think Omega Callis Impact AEW Revolution going for? Probably. So, AEW has their pay-per-view coming up in February, Revolution. The next Impact pay-per-view is not till April, and Kenny is still talking about going after that Impact World Championship. So, probably for a while. I mean, maybe we get Rich Swann versus Kenny Omega at Rebellion, which is all the way on April 24th. So, maybe for quite a while. I think they're going to stretch this one out as long as they can, to be completely honest. But with that, guys, I want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Remember to follow us on social media, Facebook.com/Pro Wrestling ULTD. Follow us on Instagram by searching for Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and follow us on Twitter at PW Unlimited. We'll be live again on Friday to talk about Friday Night SmackDown. So have a great night, guys, and I'll see you then.